y'all really ready for the real or not? Good. Because tonight I got something for you guys. We're going to dive into a bill with CPS. No, not Child Protective Services. Y'all crazy. So really what it's going to boil down to is what does it look like with these energy bills? Because you get them every month and a lot of times you don't even know what you're looking at. And when I talk to the men of the house, you guys always say, oh, I'll let the wife take care of it. And to be honest, she don't know what she's looking at either. She just know that she's going to pay that bill. So let's dive right in. As you guys can see, this right here is not a residential bill. It's actually a commercial client that I took care of. And we're going to take a look at this month here in particular. It's one of the higher months that they paid, but you can see they use, a significant amount of energy compared to residential. Now, to note, this isn't abnormal for commercial clients. This is just so happens to be the market when it comes to CPS and power demands for these businesses. Now, the first thing that pops out, I know for you guys, is what is the account balance? How much they guys got to pay? And yes, that's important. We got to make sure we keep those lights on because we're all susceptible to making sure we got power in our buildings. And we know that more so now than ever, especially coming out of this another winter storm in 2026. But really what I want to dive into today is what are the energy charges in particular and break them down from the peak capacity charges to the fuel adjustments to the regulatory adjustments and what that really means to you guys. Now, one thing for sure, we all know we got to pay our power bill, but what exactly are we paying? That's essentially what I want to dive into today so you have a better understanding of what exactly where each penny goes. So first things first, when you see the energy charge, that essentially boils down to how much power did you use. And when it comes to commercial clients, you can tell that it's tiered. So for the first 110,000 kilowatt hours, you're getting billed at 7.5 cents. And for the remaining, let's say 85,000 kilowatt hours, those guys got billed at 3.5 cents. Now, this is pretty straightforward when it comes to what energy charge means. It boils down to how much power you use for said month. So that's your lights, that's your HVAC, that's everything in between. So TVs, etc., etc. Pretty straightforward. We know we have to pay that. It's what you use, you pay that. Now, going into the next few things is where things get a bit more tricky. And most people don't understand what peak capacity charge is. And for you, it may say peak demand charge. This is kind of different per place and per business, per building. So it isn't so much about how much power you use. It's about how you use said power. So I'll use an analogy here. If you use 100 lights and they're all streamed on different light switches and you turn them on one at a time versus turning them on all at one time, that will drastically change how your bill is paid at the end of the month. Turning them on all at one time spikes your peak demand charge, and that's essentially what we see here when it comes to commercial clients. So it isn't so much about how much power you use, it's about how you use said power. So moving on along, we're going to head down to fuel adjustments, but I want you to understand that nuance, and I'm not going to get too much into detail, but that's where diving in and have a better energy solution and game plan can help shave some of that peak capacity charge. So heading on over to fuel adjustment charges. So down at CPS, fuel adjustment charges is something that you're 100% just susceptible to. You have no control over this 2.6 cents that you're going to be charged on top of what your service charge is already, that 194, let's say 195,000 kilowatt hours. So my client here had a question about how can they adjust that? How can that be fixed? And to be quite honest with you, that is 100% out of their control, outside of everyone's control. So the fuel adjustment charge is the charge that CPS puts down onto the customer or consumer that pretty much boils down to how they procure the power. So let's say for this month they had to go to New Mexico or Oklahoma from the SPP and pull power down to CPS San Antonio through the transmission to fuel the city. Or let's say they went down to South Texas from the wind farms or East Texas to the natural gas or coal fire plants. Whatever that price was to get that power, to procure that power, to sell it back to the clients and customers that they have to service in CPS, that is directly reflected here, as you can see, on everyone's bill. That's something that we all are going to be subject to when, I say we have to deal with these kilowatt cartels, and it's unfortunate, but it's the world we live in, where power companies, they have us all in a stranglehold. I mean, they have a monopoly on the situation, and the only way to find a solution out of that is finding a different energy solution that me and my team can help you with. So, jumping back into regulatory adjustments, again, this is something that's almost like another fixed charge for that 1 cent and some change tacked on top of your monthly usage. So, what is a regulatory adjustment? This is kind of similar with other service providers where they charge you for upkeep, to bring the power to your building, to make sure the transmission lines are serviceable, make sure that it's reliable. So that charge is tacked on to make sure that you're doing your part, their part, to make sure the lights and the power can get to your building, make sure the lights can turn on. So again, this is a fixed charge. It's something that you can't really adjust and have nothing about how you run your business or your home can change that. That is fixed. Now, it's important to understand that how the bill breaks down, how the bill works, because no matter what solution me and my team can provide for you, whether that's HVAC optimization, whether that's lighting retrofits, changing the hardware or the software, or smart thermostats, or solar, or LED, whatever that looks like, it's important to understand how these different solutions can affect your business. So every solution is custom fitted to every building situation, and essentially how you run your business. So all these different things are very nuanced in the conversation, and I'm not going to really dive too much in more detail when it comes to this bottom part, because it's a direct correlation when it comes to peak capacity charge. And I don't want to oversimplify it because it can get more complicated with more questions. I just want to give you guys overarching concepts of what me and my team take a look at when we say, hey, let's take a look at your energy bill, and we would like to have 12 months of usage, because it can get very, very intricate when trying to find the right solution for your said problem. And that's the thing. Our job really isn't to push anybody into any decision. Is to help you understand what market decisions makes the most sense for your business. What's the best solution for your business? And we have the game plan here, between the different solutions that we can provide. Now it's just having that conversation, having that sit down, and finding the best playbook to run with your business. So if this made sense for you, for your home or for your business that you own, reach out. We'd love to have a conversation with you to figure out what's the best way to make you guys more energy efficient and maybe stuff some more money in your pockets. So again, thank you for checking it out, and sounds like you guys are ready to get real. See you.